Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love Talk. I am so glad that y'all are here today on Love Talk. I'm just glad to be back in action, glad to have conversations about healing, about love, and just intentional conversations. So, welcome to Love Talk today. Today, we have a returning guest on Love Talk, the beautiful Miss Kayla. Kayla, welcome to Love Talk tonight.
I am so happy to be here again. I am so happy to be here.
I'm just so happy that you're here. And this is just going to be a flowing conversation. And the conversation today that we're talking about, y'all, is breaking the chains. So I was reading a book. I have a book right here. Let me show y'all the book. This is not a sponsor. It's called It Didn't Start With You. And I got this book a couple years ago, and it's talking about how inherited family trauma shapes who we are and to end the cycle. And I was just sitting thinking to myself, okay, maybe I can have this conversation on Love Talk. But I do want to put a disclaimer out. This conversation is not to bash anybody or to bash family or to try to belittle people or anything like that. It's simply just to it's like a diagnosis, looking at your life and looking at your past, your family, and things like that, just to see what similar traits we have and what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what do I want to carry on, what do I want to end with me. And I think it's very important that we have these conversations because it's just really, really important. So before we jump into the heart of our conversation, Kayla, I want us just to do some little icebreaker games. I have something called rapid fire. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, let me see, where's my rapid fire? I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. Don't take too long to think on it. Just
Okay.
answer quickly, okay?
Okay.
So the first question, let's see. What is your power color?
Pink. I
Mine
just
too.
found out like literally 2 days ago. I got my nails done. I say, yeah, this is it. This is it. Pink is my
Yeah,
color.
pink. I love pink. Okay, next
Mhm.
question. Makeup, no makeup, or both?
Both.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Can I do both to those two?
You can do both. You can do
Okay.
both.
Both.
Okay, let's get a little more deep in detail. Okay, what does healing look like for you?
Self awareness.
Mm. What's your favorite way to show love to yourself?
Doing something alone that I love to do.
What do you love to do?
I love spas. I love food. I might go get food by myself. Cleaning up. Should have said cleaning up first. Cleaning up is self love for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do two more. What's one thing you're calling in this season?
What's one thing I'm calling in this season? What you mean by that?
Well, that's a good question. Look,
It can
look,
go
I just
either way. It can go
so
either
okay. Let's just say, what are you calling this season of your life?
Okay, what am I calling the season of my life? Oh, rediscovery.
Last one. What are you celebrating about you today?
I'm celebrating how far I've come today. My mind and my body and my settings. And when I say settings, I mean like my home. Everything has just changed and everything has elevated. And I was just thinking that today. I know you said rapid fire, but this is the last question. So let me expound on it real quick.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about it. The last time I was on the podcast with you, I was in a whole different room. I was in a whole different place. I was actually staying with my grandmother. And to think about where I am today, just I'm proud of that.
Yes. Yes. And you should be proud of it, knowing just you as a person and just everything that entails, Kayla. I want to say I'm proud of you too because you are a different woman now.
I
Like you
am.
said, you're in a different space, you're in a different season, you're a married woman now. It's just so many things about you that has elevated and changed and evolved. And
Mhm.
I just love it. I
Thank
love it.
you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. So let's get into today's conversation.
Okay.
So, like I said, I have this book, and I just want to read a little bit about the back. I mean, a little bit on the back of the book. And like I said, today's conversation is about It Didn't Start With You, and we're talking about breaking chains. So, this book says depression, anxiety, chronic pain, obsessive thoughts. The evidence is compelling. The roots of these issues may reside in the traumas of our parents, grandparents, and even great grandparents. The latest research affirms that traumatic experiences passed on to future generations, that is emotional inheritance hidden in everything from our gene expression to everyday language, plays a far greater role in our health than ever previously understood. And for me, I have been just really interested in myself. So I'm really doing a lot of self-discovery, a lot of, self-work and things like that, which is not easy. Let me just put that out there. It's
For
not
sure.
easy. But I think in order for me to do the work that I do, I have to make sure that I'm in tune with myself, that I'm actually practicing what I preach, or, preaching what I practice, if I may say.
Right. Correct.
So one thing that I did in the past couple weeks is I've been calling the women in my family, because for me, I want to see how the women in my family think, to see how it aligns with, what I just want to see the similarities, because like the book says, there's a lot of things that are passed down. And I've called my grandmother, I've called my aunts. I still have some more calling to do. I've called my cousins. I need to call my sister. And it's so funny how we all have our unique way of thinking, but in a way, we all have the same similar ways of thinking.
And it's so interesting how that happens to me. It's so interesting how that happens to me, because I was thinking about that too. My my mother, my grandmother specifically, how they think and the way that my thoughts are rooted help me to make sense of why certain outcomes are happening, because you kind of see certain outcomes similarly happening across generations. Just to know that I wanted to share when you said that, because that I noticed it, and I think it's a blessing to see it, but I also think like, dang, I didn't know that this was a weakness or a strength. Could have been. But sometimes the weakness is hard to swallow, because
Yes.
then you see that showing up in yourself, and now you have to confront the very thing that you see in them. Anywho.
Yeah. Hey, Mia, in the comments. So since we're on that topic, let me ask you. So when you do see those traits coming up where it's like, okay, I see the strengths. Oh, I love about this, about, my parents, my grandparents, and I see that in me. But how do you navigate when you see those weaknesses? Because it can be like overbearing, or it can feel some, you start to, I'll speak for myself, you start to feel like some resentment, or like,
Yes.
why is this showing up? Why am I like this? So how do you handle seeing those weaknesses in yourself?
Well, first of all, I have to really think about it. I have to really rest on where is showing up for me. And the first thing that I ask oftentimes is, what is it triggering? Like, where is this trigger actually showing up for me? Because sometimes it might be insecurity. Sometimes it might be because of a lack of knowledge that we all should have had, I feel. And when I say that, I mean, when it shows up for me, because I've had multiple instances where things have shown up and I'm like, I don't like this. And then I see when it's actually being personified, or it's actually being acted out by like my mother or like my grandmother or anyone else connected to me. But those two women, I'm probably going to say their names multiple times for both strengths and weaknesses, just because I just identify with them so much. And it's really interesting to me how, and I want to speak to insecurity, and I don't want to stay here in a negative space too long, but it's amazing how words that were never spoken to encourage or uplift themselves were never spoken then to me. My nana didn't have it, so she couldn't speak it to my mama. My mama didn't have it, so she didn't speak it to me. And so I asked the question of, when I feel those moments of insecurity popping up for me, when I feel it in my being, because you kind of feel it in your gut.
Yeah.
It really comes up in your gut. I don't know why. But I try to ask the question of, again, where is it showing up for me? What insecurity is this? And then how can I respond to it differently than what I've seen? Sometimes I've seen it show up in control. And I don't always want to have to control the emotions. Sometimes I just want to let it just flow through. Like, this is a trigger for me. I've seen how they responded to this. I don't want to respond in that way. So I know that's not the way to go. So if I can't choose that as a direction to settle my emotions in, if I can't choose that as a way to solve what this is, then I know for a fact, and I have to think differently. And if I'm thinking differently about it, then what is the different thought? Why, right? It's the question of why. What is this for? What is it serving? Where is this coming from? Why? And then from there, do the digging to figure out how to solve it for myself. So I think that answers your question, but
No, it really.
Okay.
No, you answered it, and I love how you went in depth with it. You know, you gave examples. And hey, Jasmine's in the comments. She said, "Hey, ladies," and I really feel that it's important that you say, like, you figure out the triggers, because a lot of things trigger us, and we're like, what is this stemming from? So for you to be digging into, to do the work and to figure out what's triggering you is really important. Now, there's a phrase called chain breaker. And again, this this topic for Love Talk this month of breaking generational curses and things like that, it's not to bash the past generations, but each generation is supposed to get better and better and better. One thing I want to end with me is I want to be the chain breaker for, and I'm claiming it, is poverty. You know, poverty, it runs deep on both sides of my family. Just the, the and I want to be sensitive when I say this, because we are in a state where a lot of federal workers aren't being paid right now, and a lot of people are living check to check, so it is a sensitive topic. But for me, I want to end the cycle of poverty in my family. I don't know how God is going to do that, but I keep saying, because the power of the tongue is real. Poverty ends with me, and I really believe that to be true, and that's just what I want. So for you, what is something that you want to be the chain breaker for in your family?
That's a good question, and I was thinking about that. I think it's multiple things, and I don't know which one takes priority, honestly. I think that the one that is most highlighted, or the one that first came to mind when I first read the questions that you sent over, was not being connected to God in a way that actually exudes his true intention for us. Because it's one thing for your family to know God, but it's another thing for them to walk his walk and pass that on to the next generation. So, you know how in the Bible it calls us to be disciples and to win other souls, right? I didn't think about it until I realized that my family, like, we weren't always in church, and about, well, who did I ever see praying? Who prayed in front of me? Who read their word in front of me? Who took me to Bible? Who? And I didn't realize that was missing from my family. This was a recent conversation that I was having with my cousin, and we were talking about, like, what were the differences between our default families, because our family that we share is not her default family. She has another family, her dad's side of the family. And the most beautiful thing that we were able to identify was this that I just shared, that what makes one family the default family versus the other, I think, is the faith base. At least in our situation, it was the faith base. It was where and who made God central so that everything else flowed from it. You know what I mean? And so I would like to break that chain of not showing Jesus to people, particularly my loved ones, particularly the ones that I have the responsibility of rearing up, all of my little cousins, my little sisters, my children. When I have them, I am responsible for that. And you're doing your child and the next generation a disservice if you don't introduce them to Jesus.
And I have to say, being your friend, and Jasmine is in the comments, you are that friend. Like, I feel you broke that as far as what I can see when being your friend, because Jasmine, attest to this in the comments. Let them know in the comments. You're just this warrior, like, especially when it comes to praying and prophesying, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like, you have this spirit on you that is just powerful. Like, you get to go at, like, when we together, you're that praying friend.
But that's the evidence of the Holy Spirit. And that's the part that's so important, because had I not gotten to know Jesus for myself, had I not taken the time to go and explore what this man has to offer. That's all I did, was explore what that man had to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see things about myself because of what others identify. Because you can say that about me, and I wholeheartedly receive that. But to walk in that requires an elevation that I am achieving.
Yes.
I appreciate that being a representation, but it's so many more levels to that I desire to achieve. And I don't feel like I reflect them all. And so I appreciate your comment, but that's all God.
Okay. And so let me ask you, so how has choosing to walk that path changed your relationships, whether it be with your husband or with your parents, your grandmother, whatever? How has it changed your relationships?
It's made me see our weaknesses more. It's made me, and it's made me have compassion for my family and the relationships closest to me in a different way. I think that my mom and I, that's another piece. The relationship between my mom and I, that's a chain being broken in and of itself. And that's all because of Jesus. It's all because of him coming and answering the prayers that I prayed. Like that is evidence that chains can break. Like, let's just be clear about that. Like they can. And that alone answers that question for me. There was a time in my life where my mom's and I relationship was so hard. I didn't think that we would actually have the relationship that we have today. But I prayed so much in that house right across the hallway from her in my room. These were conversations that she and I were not having. These were conversations that I was having with God because I knew that this is my mama. Like, there's no way that I'm going to let us be like this. And it's something else that has to come in between us to make this work, because I can't do it in my own strength and you can't either. But at that point, I was very new in my walk. I was being called to him and I was transitioning to him because there was a point where I did not believe. And so in that transition of him pulling me back, he showed me the evidence of who he was by mending and restoring the relationship between my mother and I.
And that leads into the next question. What I was going to ask you, what's something beautiful that has come out of just that journey? But you just expressed it, how the relationship with your mom just became so beautiful, and that's such a beautiful thing. And we have Jasmine in the comments says she's amazing, a true prayer warrior. If y'all are watching this in the comments, let us know in the comments what are some chains that you are wanting to break or that you are breaking within your family, from generation to generation. So let me ask you also, so how does forgiving yourself play a role in breaking these chains?
Oh, I'm not so mad at myself that I have to forgive myself for the things that I've done. I'm not mad at her or resentful towards her. Like, I think part of it has to do with the fact that I have been so self-aware along my journey. So things that some people who, if you don't know why you're responding in the moment, you're making these decisions and life becomes hard and you don't learn until later this is what you were feeling, then it becomes, why didn't you know this, right? And there's things, of course, I didn't know. Like, some things you don't know until you go through it. However, I'm not mad at her. If anything, I want to love her. I want to love myself more. I just want to love her. I don't need to forgive her. I think about my younger self and it makes me teary-eyed. I want to be the person that that somebody should have been to me. I want to be that for me. And so that's why I'm like, I don't really know. I can't answer that question because I don't have to forgive her for the mistakes that she made. She made those. And there was a reason why she made those. And I've dealt with those reasons on why I made those decisions.
So let me ask you, because that inner child work, like that inner work is it's hard, but it's so precious.
It is.
Because I always talk about how every version of us is living within ourselves. Like that little newborn, the toddler, it's that teenage, everything is living within us, especially where trauma met us. So I know you talked about how you're loving on yourself. So how do you love that little Kayla inside of this grown-up Kayla? How do you love her right now? What are you doing to love her? How do you give her a hug?
That's a good question. Because I think that sometimes I'm doing it without knowing that I'm doing it. I just know that some days I feel like I was intentional with my time for me, and it made me feel full in a way. Um, I realized that as I grew older, I lost my ability to be childlike and goofy. And so I find myself having moments where I just release that. Like I release the things that I feel like are built up. I think one of the ways I give myself a hug is that I really, really do try my best to rectify relationships where I feel like they may have been broken. And sometimes that looks like maybe that wasn't my fault that that happened. So maybe you can just chill and stop making yourself the blame for something that happened in a situation. You know, like people make choices, they choose. So, like, chill. Chill,
Yes.
not beating yourself up for that. Another way, like I said earlier, I like to go and do things by myself. For instance, for my birthday, every year for my birthday, I take time for myself before I go and do anything else with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I take time for Kayla. And that little bit of time of me just celebrating myself, and I promise you, I don't do much of nothing. I may go to the spa. I may go to eat. I may go, this is another thing. What I mean by rectify relationships and how that's like a hug to myself. My birthday last year, all I wanted to do was go to lunch, or was it brunch? It was brunch. I
Mm-hmm.
went to brunch with my nana, my mama, and my sisters. That's all I wanted to do. It was something simple, common that we do all the time. But on that day, I was like, that time was intended to be spent with them because
Mm-hmm.
they brought me joy. I didn't expect anything from them. I walk in, there's flowers on the table, I have gifts.
Yes.
I didn't want anything else but their presence, and they exceeded my expectation. And that was such a big hug to me. But it was all because I invited them into my space because I wanted that. I wanted your energy. And that was a hug to me. Like little Kayla needed a hug from her mom and her grandmother. You
Oh,
know, like so that's those are the little things that I do, but it's all like centered in self-care, taking moments, being intentional with my time for me, getting out of like the hustle and bustle and the rush of the day sometimes is a hug to myself. You know what I mean? And I think that answers your question for the most part. Because it's so many things I think we probably all do that we don't even recognize. We call it self-care, but really it's a hug to myself. Really, I'm hugging and I'm nurturing
yes.
the younger version of me in this moment and not even realizing that's what you're doing. So mhm.
Yes. No, I love that. And one thing you taught me when it comes to your birthday, because I think you told me this last year, the year before, do something for yourself, before you hang with everybody else. And I really
Please.
been intentional about doing that. Like, even if it's just going to get my nails done or just something
Mhm.
for myself by myself, especially on my
Yeah.
birthday. And I love how you talked about how you give yourself a hug. And one way for me, if I had to share, was I'm trying to speak up for myself more. As a young child, I really didn't speak up for myself. I didn't have the voice. I thought saying something was confrontational, and I don't like confrontation. So I would rather just sit there in silence and take everything, and just everything is building up on me, and I never
Wow.
say anything. So now I'm more intentional about speaking up for myself, even when it's uncomfortable. And I feel when you ask God for something, he places you in situations that requires you to do what you're asking for.
Mhm.
And I have been having to speak up for myself in this past year more than I did in these 31 years of living. And it's just like, it's uncomfortable. And I'm just like, another one, God. But then it's just like, I'm so proud of you, Angel, because you're doing it. Even though you don't want to, you're sending these emails, you're talking, you're saying things. You're not trying to shrink yourself just
Yeah.
to not cause confrontation.
Right.
So I really am proud of myself for speaking up. And then my cousin Mia, you in here watching, she always says it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
For
You
sure.
know, so that's something that I've been, I can really hug myself and say I'm proud of you. And I even have my lock screen as little Angel because I'm
Mm.
really, really trying to nurture the younger version of myself. Because going back to the topic of conversation, these generational things started when I was that age, so it's
Mhm.
going back to heal that younger version of myself, to nurture Angel, and to realize that I love you. And the
Yeah.
things that hurt you, you don't have to pass on to your kids. You're breaking chains. So I'm just so proud of myself and proud of you for breaking these chains. And Mia in the comments said breaking the chain of beating on my kids. Yes, speak to those
Yeah.
kids. We have to.
No, yes. That's a big one. Like beating on our kids, and I'm saying our kids because y'all babies are our babies. Like they
Mhm.
our babies. Like our word choice for children. Like how we beat them up with our words. I never understood it at first. Like, how bad it could be. Like you have Black moms who are just harsh and it's just accepted, right? And then you have those women who did the work
Mhm.
from a mother like that, and they realized those words were so harsh. They didn't even have to put their hands on you. And so I just think about that because I can see those things happening and showing up for like my younger sisters or like even some of my peers and how they treat their children and the things that they're trying to come out of. It's really a matter of how we're talking to ourselves too. Like you only talk to your child like that because you talk to yourself like that. Like a lot of the times the way that you talk to your child, the way you handle your child, you handling yourself probably way worse. It's amazing to me how that shows up. And I'm not calling anybody out at all, but I'm just saying it's amazing how as a mother, like you really have to practice self-care. And I'm not a mother yet, but I see how it's already hard for me.
Mhm.
So imagine having children and being overstimulated by that. You deal with that all the time. And
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because this leads me right into a question I have for you. What are the power words that you're choosing in this season? What are your power words? Whether they be words of affirmation, words that you feel help to reshape how you would have said a thing before. Like, for instance, an example, I can't do this to no, I can do this. I just know that there's a space where I still have to grow and develop in order to master this thing. So like, what are your words? How are you reframing your words to be more powerful?
Yeah, so I have a couple of them. My first, this is an affirmation that I'm telling myself on a daily is I am enough.
Yes.
Because I struggle with my, just my self-worth. I may
Mhm.
not show it, but I do. I struggle with my self-worth. So just saying I am enough has been really changing my mindset, my mind frame on anything. Like even running a 5K the other day, telling myself I am enough. I can
Mhm.
do this, I can do
Mhm.
this. But the biggest thing for me is I don't have to do this. I get to do this. Um,
That's good.
I don't have
That's
to,
good.
and that's with anything because especially we was talking about being a mother, it's so hard. Like, and I love my babies to life,
Mhm.
but being a mother, it gets overstimulating,
Yeah.
especially now because we don't have that village like because we don't live in town, our family members are out of town, so it's really just me, my husband, and these kids.
Mhm.
So not having that village and I'm overstimulated. No, I'm a reframe that. We do have the village. Not having the village here, I should say, 'cause we got the village, but
Mhm.
just not having him here, I get overstimulated, I get tired. Like even just getting ready for Love Talk, I said, oh my goodness, this is so hard. And now after I turn this computer off, turn these lights out, I'm gonna go spend time with my kids and really
Yes.
love on them because mommy is always in go mode. I'm just going, going, going. And that's a cycle that I want to break. Speaking of
Mhm.
generational break traumas and all that, not traumas, breaking generational patterns and things. Just the fact of as Black women,
Yes.
we're always on go. We're always
Always.
figuring things out.
Always.
We're on go, and
Always.
it's not intentional because things have to get done.
Mhm.
But I want to slow down. I don't want
Mhm.
every morning to be y'all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm waking my
Mhm.
children up in chaos. I'm putting them to sleep in chaos. Go to sleep, get up. So it's just like I'm running I'm a drill sergeant. And they need that sometimes.
They
But I
do.
to know what it feels like to have just a soft life. We don't
Yeah.
have to rush to do everything. We can mosey on down if we want to, so
Yeah.
it's that's something that I'm really trying to reframe. So back to your question is I don't have to do this, I get to
I
do
get to
this.
do
There's
this.
so many mothers or women who can't even have kids. They want to have kids, but it's just not, it hasn't happened for them with infertility or whatever the case may be. I
Right.
get to experience being a mother to
Mhm.
these kids, and I want to really enjoy it. I don't want them to have their picture, they screensaver trying to heal from what I didn't cause, because I ain't healing myself, or I'm taking my healing out on them, and I'm coming on Love Talk acting healed, but hollering at them every night. So it's really me having to be intentional about, but they gonna get hollered at, don't get me wrong.
For sure. It's a part of the process.
I don't want that to be everything. I know mama to be just this overstimulated, needing to hustle like this. I feel like I'm that anxiety thing off of Inside Out 2. I always but that's my answer to your question.
And that's so good to me, because I realized that, like, being in go mode, it almost feels uncomfortable to be in a place where it doesn't require that. Like, it feels uncomfortable to not have to do, like, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and I've had to prep myself in my mind to just, girl, relax. Don't check your phone. Don't do anything. You don't have to respond to no client. You don't have to respond to not a family member. I'm going to go ahead and share my address. You know where I'm at. You got my location. And after I do that, that's it. I'm turning off my phone, kind of. But just have, like, that right there has me shook, because I'm like, I don't know the life of just nothingness.
Ease. Yes, nothingness. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So working on that.
Yes. We got it. So I have two last questions just to wrap up tonight's Love Talk. And thank y'all, everybody, for tuning in. Again, if you're checking this out right now on the live, y'all let us know in the comments, what is something that you are breaking, a generational pattern that you are breaking. Let us know in the comments. And my last two questions. The first one, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? I don't want to give, like, the performative answer, like, because what really makes me happy is, like, having moments where I take a really good shower and I took my time, right? Did my little self-care, pluck my eyebrows, shave my face, shave everywhere I needed to shave. Like, those moments make me happy. I feel good. I feel lighter. Another thing that makes me feel happy is, again, going back to just having those moments of intention with, like, inviting people into my space, taking the time out to go be with my friends, taking the time out to go be with my mama, seeing my grandmother. Those things make me happy. They really, really do. And I think the other thing that makes me happy is seeing my progress over time.
Yes.
Makes me happy is seeing myself do things that were historically difficult for me to do. When I see that when I realize that I'm thinking differently about something, or that I was able to reframe, like what you just said, it's not that I have to, but I get to, like, that reframe, and how it really just makes your mind click, like, oh, I get it now. So I can perceive it differently, and I can appreciate it differently. So those moments really do make me really, really happy.
I love that. And the last question, or not really a question, can you give a message to other women?
Yes. Bear with me while I think about it. There are so many things that God has purposed us to do. None of them can be done without Him. Your life and everything you do flows from where you are with Him. You have to take the time to get to know Christ. 1, before it's too late, but 2, so that you can live the life abundantly that He desires for you to have. You're not always going to be in the place that you're in, but it's possible that you can be if you don't take the time. Oh, Jesus. You have to take the time to be with Jesus. And that's all that I can really say. As a woman, as a man, as a child, it don't matter who gets to see this video. Any person that sees this interview and gets to this minute, this moment of this conversation, it is imperative that you seek the Lord Jesus Christ so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. And that's what I would say.
I love it. And look, we got in the comments, amen. And Jasmine said poverty and negative patterns, also believing that we can. I agree with that. And Kayla, I just want to thank you, one, for that message, because that is so true. And I am really working on just my relationship with God and reading my Bible, opening up my Bible. All things work for the good who loves Christ. Absolutely, Deanna. Because it's nothing like that relationship with God. And I notice how my life is when I'm shaky, when I'm not giving him that time versus when I'm locked in. He comes first before this phone or before anything, So I definitely agree with your message, and I thank you for that. And I just thank you for just giving me your time here on Love Talk, our returning guest. We always have good conversations. You always drop some wisdom. And I just want to encourage you to continue on your faith walk with Christ, because not only do I see it, I know others see it. And I just want to give you your flowers and let you know how proud I am of you. I hope you enjoy your vacation tomorrow. And don't check that phone. Don't look at the time.
I'm not.
Look, we are breaking those chains of rushing. You don't have to do anything but enjoy your time, your space, your opportunity, the beautiful atmosphere. Just enjoy it. And y'all watching Love Talk, thank y'all for tuning into Love Talk. Thank you for y'all continued support. I really appreciate y'all. I don't have to do this. I get to do this, and I do it for y'all. So make sure y'all support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Please, please, please subscribe. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we are going to do that with the help of you all. So proud of both of you ladies. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank y'all for tuning. And like we always do, tune in every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Love Talk. The conversation will continue next Monday about breaking generational cycles and patterns. And y'all make sure that y'all believe in yourself and choose you today. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.